Hey homies, it's Chapadong here, and if you haven't paid attention, April 1st is not only April Fool's Day, it is also opening day of the MLB season. So we're going to dive in and show you a real quick couple of things here with the research station since it's now up and it's live and it's ready to view here over at dfsarmy.com. Basically one-stop shopping, all things daily fantasy sports. Doesn't matter if you're driving in an oval or if you're fighting in an octagon, we've got you covered from A to Z, single sports, multi-sports, weekly, monthly, membership options, everything in the link down there in the description. When you hit the like and the notification button down there as well, you can get yourself a discount using DFS Army as a coupon code and get yourself 10% off the Core 4 or the VIP memberships. Very, very simple. Become a better daily fantasy sports player. Here's how you're going to do it. You're going to dive into the research station under the MLB tab at dfsarmy.com. And you have a couple of tabs down here at the bottom that you can look at, from DraftKings to FanDuel to hitters to pitchers to whatever. Everything in here is fully sortable and fully filterable right down to button clicking for specific positions and teams. You can do anything that you want to do very, very quickly. Green is good, red is bad. As these lineups confirm, this thing will kick in and will show you that the lineup is now locked in. We've got a little bit of a weather report, we've got projections, we've got everything that you need. Let's start over here with FanDuel pitchers because you only pick one. Usually we're gunning for high strikeouts and low runs against, and of course the win, very important in MLB DFS. But what I'm looking at in April is a little bit of a trick that I will share with my VIPs on opening day to get them started for the month of April. Very, very different than what I'm getting ready to show you right now because I'm just not giving that secret away for free. Pretty simple. Now, when I come over here, I can sort by the projections, value, rating. This rating is basically a DFSA grade. It takes different weights and measures onto different statistics, from contact to history to matchup base, everything, and compiles it into a great rating. Obviously, Clayton Kershaw coming out of the gate has the highest rating on the slate. Glasnow would be next. You come all the way down here to some of the scrubs, like a no experience Brad Keller probably, or a low experience. Kyle Hendricks, again, being a contact pitcher, is interesting, probably facing a decent, well, facing Pittsburgh. That's, whew, I don't know why he'd have such a low grade against Pittsburgh. You'd think it'd be a little bit higher than that. But these red guys are your stacking candidates. These green guys would be the candidates for players that you might want to use in your lineups. You can see everything going against them, from pitching stats in 2020 to opponent stats in 2020, and my favorite section, the chop shop. We're not looking at Vegas just yet because we have no team totals, we have no run lines, whatever, out just yet. But K-score and W-score, I'm going to explain this multiple times throughout the season as I start formulating my daily routine, going into the optimizer, showing you how to set and stack your lineups, what player rules to use, what formations to use, all that good stuff. We'll save that for a VIP type video down the road here over the next couple of days. But Chop Shop is one of the coolest all-encompassing metrics. Yes, shameless plug, Chop Shop is after Chapadong. It's mine. I got it created to me from a couple of guys that said, you're really going to love this based on what you always talk about. The great equalizer in baseball is strikeouts and WOBA. You'll find that on any site that you go to. There's tons of other metrics that we've used, a couple of others that I've invented along the way. But what we're really looking for pitchers is strikeouts. What I want is a high strikeout pitcher going up against a team that loves to strike out. Am I right? Duh. Who hasn't thought of that? But have you thought to take their percentages over a sample size and actually add them together to put them on a sliding scale so that you're actually comparing apples to apples between pitchers? That's what K-Score and Chop Shop does. It shows you who has the highest probability on the slate of having a high strikeout day. And it works. It works very, very well. So if I was to go here, sort by descending, what I basically want, and see, when you get these blanks, click it again, go down here to filter, uncheck the blanks, and those guys will pop right back in. That's something that changes from day to day. I don't control the technology behind the scenes. I just know how to manipulate it and show you how to manipulate it as well. But what I'm looking for in a 598, anything over 500 is pretty darn good. You're going to see it start sliding to the green scale. Anything way under that is pretty bad. So what I want to see is a high strikeout pitcher facing a high strikeout team like an Aaron Nola, based on last year, 2 years, whatever numbers these are using. And I'll tell you what's interesting with the high W score, and I'll explain that in a minute as well, that this is a boom or bust type of matchup. He might have a great day, he might have a crappy day. But the 598 tells me that dollar for dollar, Aaron Nola is in a very, very good spot on this. Well, you may take DeGrom, you may take Glass. Now that's fine. They've got high K scores as well. But Nola's is a little bit better, probably based on the team he's facing. Maybe some splits, right-handed, left-handed splits. Any of these guys are pretty much in play. I like to look for the guy with the highest chances to win the game. So I want that Vegas number coming out. And I want the highest K score for the cheapest dollar. Because if I've got a similar K score in DeGrom and Glasnow of 576 and 572, and let's say they were both minus 150 money line favorites over in Vegas, why on earth would I not save $1,000 and just take Glasnow? Right? I'm looking for the cheapest bang for my buck, the highest K score, and the best chances to win. That's all I look for with pitchers. It's just not rocket science. It's not hard. And this number right here saves me from looking at all of those other numbers. Now, on occasion, I'll go verify something, or I'll double check something, or I'll dig into something when I have the time. But if I don't have the time or I don't want to spend the time on it, this is going to get me into the nasty pretty quickly. W score is better used for batters, so let's switch over to the hitters and show you the exact same thing with teams, projected orders, weather, projections, all that good stuff. StatCast numbers, exit velo, all that good stuff. Pitcher against numbers, chop shop again, bullpen numbers, you're going to want to use those. Vegas, full season stats, all the way over to right-handed and left-handed splits. It's just crazy the number of stats you can look at and go blind on if you want. But again, let's come over here to Chop Shop. And let's sort this one by K-score first. Go ascending order. This is just the way I do it. Should bring all the red dudes to I guess green for batters is bad. But let's go to the guys with low K-scores. These guys are facing low K-score pitchers, which means it's good for the pitcher, or good for the batter in this case. A low K-score pitcher means low strikeouts, and a team that isn't striking out again, that's hitting the ball a lot against him. So when I find that matchup, that means it's good for the bats. But what I really like doing is I like going with the W score. Now again, I'm going to have to probably filter off the boxes or the blanks. No worries. But I'm looking here at these W scores. Some of these guys are going to have short samples, so you really got to watch that. But when I'm looking here, in these numbers, up and down, I'm looking for big numbers because that's using WOBA in the exact same way we used K-score. It's taking the WOBA of the hitter and combining it with the WOBA given up by the pitcher. So if I have a high WOBA hitter facing a pitcher that doesn't get anybody out, that gives up a high WOBA against, it's a good matchup. It's a green light on a green light situation. And again, it allows me to compare apples to apples. Did you ever think that you'd be comparing Will Myers and Freddie Freeman? Well, tomorrow you will be, because you're looking at the same type of WOBA score for both. They're both facing different pitchers. They're both facing, different spots, but different matchups, and they're both different hitters. But they're going based on their large sample numbers, because we don't do small samples yet in the season, in the early season. You're looking at two hitters that should have fairly similar results if we ran this slate 100 times. It's baseball. It's volatile. I get it. One might have a great day. One might really stink. But what you're looking at is a matchup that indicates on paper that it's pretty equal from top to bottom. And when I'm looking at that, I see, big savings of, what is that, $1,300? So if I save a little bit by dropping a Glasnow and save $1,000 there, save a little bit by dropping from Freeman to Myers, provided their position eligibility is the same, save $1,300 more, I just freed up $2,300. What does that allow me to do? That allows me to stack big bats. That allows me to get into some big offenses and get into the heart of those offenses and not have to take the little needle dick 7, 8, 9 guys down there at the bottom. Sometimes I can run 1 through 5 on both teams that I stack, Team A and Team B, and get big bats in both lineups and hope those two teams go off. It sets me up for success. Okay? So those are just two really, really quick ways. As the trends tab populates, when we get a little bit deeper into the season, we'll start seeing, 30, 14, and 7-day numbers. I love watching the WOBA trends. I love watching the ISO trends, and I love adding these two numbers together. Let's say I see a 7-day WOBA of 500 to get for, Mookie Betts, who's all of a sudden on fire, and his ISO, his raw power trend is like 250. Well, or in this case, 380 and 240. That's a 420, 620, 620. Anything over 600 is good. Why? An elite WOBA number is 400 or better. An elite ISO number is 200 or better. So if I add those two numbers together and I call it WOBISO, coin that term, now you've got yourself a couple of spots where you can look for some really lethal hitters. Again, small sample size on Ke'Bryan Hayes, but you come down here to Freddie Freeman, a 400 and a 266. That's a what? Says 460, 472. 472 compared to Mookie Betts's 623. So 462 is better than 623. Freddie Freeman's in a slightly better spot than Mookie Betts, and he's cheaper on DraftKings, and he's cheaper on FanDuel. So I would take Freddie Freeman possibly over a Mookie Betts. Now, I like to stack. I like to correlate my teams. I might be focused on LA. I might be focused on Atlanta. I probably won't be playing the whole one-off game, but if I'm playing in a cash game and that number's the same, yet the savings is large, then I'm going to take the value play, and I'm going to move on to something else. So you can use this in a bunch of different ways. And if this stuff confuses you, don't worry. It doesn't take much time to get up and get running at dfsarmy.com. That's why you need to come inside. You need to ask for me. You need to talk to me. I'll be putting these videos out on a daily basis for quite a while until we formulate a routine that everybody's comfortable with. I'll take my numbers from here, the players that I like, the teams that I like, and I'll show you why. And I'll take those into the optimizer, and I'll show you how to set up the optimizer so that you can print, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 lineups, or 150 lineups if that's what you want to do. You can play this game on a small level or a large level depending on what you're comfortable with. You can take a few shots at tournaments and play single entry, or you can take mass multi-entry shots. The tools are the same, the concepts are the same, but you need to come in here, you need to ask the questions, get the answers from people that have been there, done that, got the t-shirt and the hat, and you need to figure out how to make yourself a better player. And you do that by going down to the comments section, clicking dfsarmy.com, using the coupon code DFSARMY for a 10% savings. And while you're down there, please hit the like, hit the subscribe button, tell your friends. We're going to rock and roll this year. We've got a number of big wins on the horizon from the past few years. We're going to put more in there this year, and we're going to have the best 2021 ever. I hope to see you on the inside. I hope to talk to you more tomorrow and the next day coming and going forward. Through the early part of the MLB season, I'll tell you when to start paying attention to these trends. I'll tell you when to start using different numbers and different metrics, and I'll teach you to become a better DFS MLB player. Peace out, homies. We'll talk to you real soon. Thursday!